Hello, my name is Matt Ferreira. I'm the Business Administrator for SAU 21, and I'll be presenting the Seabrook School District proposed operating budget and associated warrant articles for fiscal year 2020-2021 that will be going on the ballot in March of 2020. The first warrant article, the operating budget, is in the amount of $15,058,049. This represents an estimated 5.5834 per thousand of the tax rate, and is compared to the default budget of $14,967,362. So when the school board administration develops an operating budget, we really take a look at what we're looking to achieve, what's the goals and mission of the school district. As we all know, our values are represented in the budget, in that how we allocate resources indicates what our priorities lie. So our proposed operating budget does reflect this commitment to providing an education that promotes a passion for learning and to provide a safe atmosphere which is conducive to educating, nurturing, and empowering all students to become responsible, productive, tolerant members of society. Specifically, we look at goals that we're looking to achieve in the upcoming fiscal year, 2020-2021, and how to make an investment in resource and allocate resources that truly enhances our academic programs and experiences that supports all of our students. So based on this overarching goal, there are really three primary objectives. The first of which is to continue investment in our Seabrook students to provide the opportunities and education that empowers individuals to be caring, competent, responsible citizens who really value learning as a lifelong process. Additionally, we're looking to focus on student learning to fully maximize and leverage the implementation of our SAU-wide competency-based education initiative. So this is an initiative that we implemented 2 years ago. We're working across the entire SAU. We've hired a consultant, and we're really going deep as far as implementing this initiative to make sure that our curriculum is aligned across the entire SAU, that we're preparing our students, whether it's Seabrook, Northampton, Hampton Falls, Southampton, all in the same manner to graduate up into Winnicott. Additionally, we're looking to provide appropriate funding and allocation of resources that maintains and continuously improves the current high level of learning opportunities to properly prepare our students, while always being cognizant of fiscal responsibility to the community and taxpayers of Seabrook. We understand that there are outside powers that or influencers that affect how we may budget and spend money accordingly. We need to be cognizant of revenue coming in from other sources, whether it's the power plant revenue or business revenue or our real estate revenue. So we feel that we brought forth a budget that is responsible and is only a slight increase and will only marginally affect taxpayer dollars. When we're looking at a budget, we always need to take a look at enrollment, both on a short-term basis and a long-term basis when we're looking to budget. So we do contract with the New England School Development Council to prepare enrollment projections for the SAU. These enrollment projections are 2 years old, so the SAU has budgeted for another set of projections to be conducted this next year in fiscal year 2020-2021. So this is something we're cognizant of. Seabrook School District does anticipate a fairly flat enrollment over the next 3 years. However, there has been some changes in town in regard to developments and housing projects that can affect enrollment going forward. There's a certain transient population that has a direct effect on the budget. So overall, the proposed 2020-2021 Seabrook School District operating budget is $15,058,049, which reflects an increase of 3.7%, or $537,225 increase from the prior year. Further, I will note that the proposed operating budget is $90,687,000, or 0.61% higher than the default budget of $14,967,362. So this really reflects how lean the budget is, the fact that there's only this slight delta between the operating budget and the default budget. It does reflect significant reductions, as well as level funding on any discretionary accounts. And really the slight overall increase is due to contractual and legally mandated expenditures. Some of these budget drivers are really represented in three major components in the budget. So there are three components that represent $504,042 of the total $537,225,000 increase. This includes special education, which is seeing an increase of $141,701, which is a result of students' individualized education plans, their IEPs, and these services are mandated by state and federal law. Additionally, our Seacoast Education Association (CBA) salaries have increased $224,170. This represents the teacher's contract that was passed at ballot last year, and includes a 2.75% cost of living adjustment, as well as step increases for the new collective bargaining agreement. Finally, the third major driver is employee benefits, which is an increase of $138,171, which reflects an increased retirement contribution, FICA and Medicare contributions, as well as workers' compensation insurance due to increased salaries based on the new CBA, as well as an increase in our health insurance premiums, which reflect a 1.8% guaranteed maximum rate for premiums, as well as staffing changes resulting in plan election changes. So if you were to remove these three increases, the budget would really be an increase of only $33,186, or a slight increase of 0.23%. So embedded in the operating budget is cost of living adjustments for our employees. There's three classifications of employees. The first of which I mentioned earlier was our teachers. So that falls under the C collective bargaining agreement at 2.75%. Additionally, we have our paraprofessional employees. These employees fall under CESPA, so the Seacoast Seacoast Educational Personnel Association, who is actually a separate warrant article that will be on the ballot this year. So there are no increase included for our CESPA employees. This will be a separate warrant article that will be presented. The third classification of employee are our non-union employees. So this includes our administrators, our office staff, our food service workers, facilities staff, and technology team. What we do is we benchmark our cost of living adjustment against the rate of inflation. So we take a look at the Consumer Price Index, CPI, for this geographic region for the prior year. So in this case, it would be July of 2018 to July of 2019. And that came out to be a 2.0% rate of inflation. So we've included a 2.0% cost of living adjustment for our non-union staff. So now I'll go into detail on the specific functions of the budget. I will briefly describe any significant increase or decrease with a rationale for that variance. So the first item is regular education, which is budgeted at $4,575,016, which is an increase of $146,325, or 3.3%. So this reflects that new teachers' collective bargaining agreement, there's cost of living adjustment, as well as step increases. And these increases were slightly offset by a reduction in our books, print media purchasing accounts. Our special education budget is $2,089,778, which is an increase of $141,701, or 7.27%. So again, as I had mentioned earlier, this is based on individual students' IEPs, which are mandated by state and federal law. Our student activities account is budgeted at $72,085, which is an increase of $12, or 0.2%. This reflects really effectively no change from the prior year. However, there were adjustments in individual line items within this function, which does include an increase in dues and fees, as well as extracurricular stipends, which were offset by a decrease in our speaker fees. Our summer school is budgeted at $20,760, which reflects no change from last year. Similarly, our guidance budget is $153,480, which is a decrease of $2,909, or a 1.86% reduction. This reflects a reduced cost due to staffing changes. So when we have someone that retires or leaves to go to a different school district, we budget in a certain amount for that replacement person, staff person. So sometimes that comes in higher or lower. In this case, we anticipate a cost savings. Our health budget is $146,813. This is an increase of $24,294, or 19.83%. And this reflects a staffing change. Again, when we have turnover, we may see a higher replacement cost, or lower. In this case, it's going to be significantly higher based on the outgoing person. Additionally, we did have a cost of living adjustment per the CBA. Our speech budget is $224,727, which is an increase of $8,281, or 3.83%. So again, this reflects the new teachers' collective bargaining agreement with cost of living adjustment and step increases. Our other support services is budgeted at $1, and this is just to keep the account open in case there is potential future need. However, we do not anticipate needing to utilize this account in the next fiscal year. Our improvement of instruction budget is $143,293, or an increase of $4,517, or 3.25%. And this reflects a salary cost of living adjustment, step increases, and a slightly higher actual salary over the original budgeted amount. Our educational media account is budgeted at $181,672, or $6,049 increase, 3.44%. And the primary driver for this increase is due to staff salary cost of living adjustment and step increases. Our computer services budget is $304,887, or an increase of $27,680, or 9.99%. I will note that our computer services accounts do align with our school technology plan, as well as the associated technology replacement cycles within that plan. We always, with technology and other replacements, whether it's technology or facilities, we implement replacement cycles. That way we can minimize fluctuations, high or low, and we can kind of flatten out those costs over a period of time with proper planning. So in this case, we're continuing our investment in the one-to-one Chromebook initiative. I will note that last year was an off year on this replacement cycle. We did note it last year that it would be a abnormally lower cost last year, but going forward with the planned replacement purchasing cycle, we do anticipate it to be approximately level with what we have this year and moving forward. Our support services budget is $116,700 with no increase budgeted. Our Board of Education budget is $53,911, or a reduction of $600 or a 1.1% decrease. And this reflects a reduction in our advertising and annual meeting accounts to reflect our actual expenditure history. I will note that when we go through the budgeting process, there are certain accounts where we have initiatives or specific items that we are looking to invest in, whereas there are some accounts where it's fairly consistent purchases year over year, in which case we will look at expenditure history, both prior year and the 3-year average. And if we haven't been spending the account, we will reduce it to appropriate levels, or if we're overspending, we may increase it appropriately. Our SAU services budget is $601,868, which is an increase of $17,564 or 3.01%. So this reflects the new aligned vision of the SAU. Last year we brought forth an SAU budget that reflects a more collaborative, cohesive SAU where we have all of our districts working together for a shared vision. This continues that outlook. We have already recognized cost savings by utilizing shared services, where we are looking to create efficiencies and offer better services across the district, and align services where we are offering the same programming, the same services in each district, K through 8, to prepare them for Winnipeg High School. So we do feel that we've already accomplished some of this goal. We've gone to direct billing for Medicaid across the district, recognizing savings there. We're consolidating our special education transportation accounts to better utilize those services. We identified ESOL, our English as a Second Language, teaching positions as a position that we can share across the district, as opposed to having separate part-time employees in each district, which not only saves us money but also provides us a higher quality person in that full-time role, as opposed to those part-time positions. So our school administration budget is $593,283, or an increase of $20,055 or 3.5%. So the primary driver for this increase is due to the administrative salary cost of living adjustment and step increases. Our buildings account is budgeted at $841,961, which is an increase of $12,813 or 1.55%. This slight increase reflects the planned purchase of extremely necessary lockers for the middle school. Those lockers have reached end of life and are failing at a rapid rate, and there are no replacement parts available. So our facilities team have literally been, welding these lockers together and kind of band-aiding them, but this is a replacement that is absolutely necessary. So what we plan to do is utilize $20,000 from the furniture account in this building's operating budget, and then we do plan to withdraw the remaining $78,000 from the building maintenance expendable trust to fund this very necessary locker replacement. Additionally, our grounds budget is $63,500, which is an increase of $0 for 2020-2021. Our vehicle expenses budget is $3,200, which is similarly seeing no increase for the next year. Our transportation is budgeted at $874,552, which is an increase of $6,603 or 0.64%. This reflects year 2 of our 5-year contract with First Student. They supply our regular education, athletic, field trip, and other transportation services. and this was slightly offset by a decrease in our special education transportation costs that we do anticipate for the next year. Our employee benefits is budgeted at $3,536,368. This is an increase of $138,171, or 4.07%. And again, this reflects a 1.8% guaranteed maximum rate for our health insurance premiums, as well as staffing changes that have resulted in plan election changes and increases in FICA, retirement, and workers' comp due to salary increases. Our debt service is budgeted at $126,436, which is a decrease of $1,499, or 1.17%. Our debt service account provides the principal and interest payments on the bond issue for the building project. I will also note that the last payment is scheduled for August of 2024. Our interfund transfer is budgeted at $1. What this is a transfer from the general fund into our food service fund. The food service fund is separate from the general fund, so if our food service program runs a deficit, we are required by law to transfer funds from the general fund to cover that deficit. However, we do not anticipate needing to do so next year. As such, our food service budget is $333,857, a decrease of $10,829, or 3.14% reduction. This reflects decreases in our food and milk supplies, USDA commodities, and equipment accounts based on expenditure history. So that brings us to our default budget, which is $14,967,362, which is $90,687,000 less than the proposed operating budget. I will note that the default budget is calculated by utilizing the prior year's operating budget, reduced and increased, whichever may be the case, by debt service, contracts, and other obligations that were previously incurred or mandated by law, and then reduced by any one-time expenditures contained in the operating budget. So that brings us to our second warrant article, which is for the Seacoast Educational Support Personnel Association. So I had mentioned earlier our paraprofessionals cost of living adjustment was not included in the operating budget. That is rolled into the separate warrant article number 2, and this is a 4-year warrant article. So for year 1, the total cost is $29,086, and then in years 2, 3, and 4, it does increase to just over $56,000, $48,000, and $59,000, which reflects an approach to address our health insurance issues with our paraprofessionals. We anticipate that this will constitute a 0.0107 per thousand of the tax rate. So this proposed collective bargaining agreement is, like I said, is for our invaluable CESPA employees to provide them improved compensation and benefits to better retain and attract these educational associates. Additionally, we've added contractual language to better manage these employees more efficiently, and safeguards against potential Affordable Care Act IRS penalties by including health insurance in this collective bargaining agreement. So health insurance was our main priority for this warrant article. We've been employing these staff members at 34.9 hours per week under the collective bargaining agreement rate of 35 hours, which constitutes full-time status. So as such, these employees do not receive health insurance, even though they are working essentially a full-time status. Additionally, the Department of Labor does recognize that any staff member who works over 30 hours is as full-time and should receive benefits. So it doesn't align with our collective bargaining agreement. As such, the District of Seabrook is exposed to IRS Affordable Care Act penalties for not offering affordable health care to these employees. So we really made an effort to bring forth a warrant article that was fiscally responsible for the taxpayers, because health insurance can be pricey. So we've ramped it up over a number of years to limit that cost, but also address this very important issue, because it's not only the IRS penalties that we're worried about. There's also a very real cost to turnover. We're seeing a 25% turnover rate for these really important employees. We're working with our special education students as well as our regular education students. As far as special education goes, these are students that are in greatest need, and are really the most fragile students that oftentimes will need consistency. So having a high turnover rate can really affect their progress. Additionally, as mentioned before, we are implementing competency-based education, which really does emphasize individualized and personalized learning. So these employees are in the classroom working with students on a one-on-one basis, assisting the teachers and really helping not only our special education students but our regular education students to be able to implement this very important initiative and this new learning and teaching model that we're bringing across the SAU. So I can't stress the importance of these staff members. They're on the front lines. They're down and dirty with the students. And short of the teacher, these are the staff members that can really affect the most positive change. So as I mentioned, this CBA is a 4-year agreement. Year 1 includes a 2.5% cost of living adjustment, and then years 2 through 4 it drops down to 1%, as well as an addition of a top step in year 2. Finally, there is an extra longevity stipend for anyone that achieves 20 years of service, which is another $200. I will note that these percentages are really a minimal cost to the school district, because these are low-cost employees. The average CESPA employee has an annual salary of $21,150. So this really is a low-cost employee that really provides a big benefit to the school district. So as I'd mentioned, this agreement does include health insurance. However, we did ramp it up in a tiered approach to minimize the cost to the district. We didn't want to have it have a big cost in one fell swoop. So what we're doing is we're offering eligible employees single coverage, so they won't be offered two-person or family coverage under the site of service plan, which is our lowest cost plan. And then we're ramping up the premium percentage that the school district will contribute. So in year 1, it'll be 0% from the school district. Then in year 2, 40%. Year 3, 60%. And then finally in year 4, we're going to get to 80%, which is where what we're targeting. So again, I can't emphasize the importance, both from a exposure, mitigating risk to the school district, but also as far as retaining these very valuable employees and also attracting these employees. We've seen that we've had a very difficult time hiring these employees. Additionally, we have some language adjustments to the agreement that is intended to help the district better operate more efficiently, maintain morale, and really manage the school better. This includes requiring a monthly staff or department meeting that these employees will attend at their normal rate of pay. Currently, they come in, they do their job, and they leave just because we have such tight hour restrictions on them. But for them to truly be part of the team and the school district, we'd like to include them in more of our team-wide meetings. Additionally, we're including one 30-minute work period per week for these employees. That way they can complete some necessary paperwork, relevant meetings, or other activities that are assigned by their supervisor. This is particularly important when we're looking at Medicaid reimbursement. We need to provide them the opportunity to complete that paperwork. We've also identified sick and personal leave as an important item to address, and this has been included in the agreement. Across the entire SAU, for all our employees, we do have a mentality of use it or lose it, and part of that is creating a morale and different culture to discourage that mentality. But then there's others. We can include contract languages that will also discourage it. So we've included abuse language in the agreement. We've also streamlined our sick bank language to streamline it and make it, simplify it. We've included additional rollover of sick leave to minimize potential for utilization, as well as a cap on our personal days per school on the same day during the months of May and June. We've included some other small language clarifications, in regard to bereavement, assembly of delegates, our arbitration process, use of facilities, and hiring practice, which has no substantial, there's no substantial difference from prior years. This just clarifies it more as far as the intent, the original intent. Moving on, I had mentioned costs, but I will mention again that year one is just over $29,000 to Seabrook. Years 2 is just over $56,000. Year 3 is $48,000, and year 4 is $59,000, which really is a minimal cost when you're looking at the overall scheme and the overall budget that we are presenting. This is just a small fraction. However, this is incredibly important to a properly run school. In talking about the impact, I spoke about it earlier, but we are having significant issues with turnover. We're finding that it's taking months to fill open positions. We have a 25% turnover rate. When we speak to these employees, health insurance coverage is the number one cited reason for either leaving or for not accepting the job. Additionally, when you do a comparative analysis and look at other school districts in our area, other SAUs, we are at a competitive disadvantage. We offer lower compensation and we do not offer benefits, whereas those other SAUs do. So this really limits the pool of qualified candidates to work with this disadvantaged population and to move forward a competency-based education initiative. I will make one final note that historically it's been difficult to pass these collective bargaining agreements because we have a collaborative agreement within the SAU, which is a little unique in that this ballot initiative needs to pass in each individual district in order for it to pass in any one district. So you'll see this on your ballot, both on the Seabrook local ballot as well as the Winnacunnet ballot. And if it fails in Hampton Falls or on the Winnacunnet ballot or Southampton or Seabrook, it will fail for everyone. So it's really important that you vote on both ballots because the Seabrook will see it on both sides. So that moves us on to Warrant Article 3, which is the roof replacement in the amount of $135,320. this constitutes a 0.0501 per thousand tax rate increase. This is a proposed roof replacement year 2 of a 2-year plan. So this is the second section of the elementary school roof, which did reach end of life. The first section was a warrant article on last year's ballot. That warrant article did pass, and the project was completed this past summer. And I will note that the proposed replacement does align with the overall roof replacement plan that was developed in conjunction with our roof consultant. Warrant article number 4 is the natural gas generator in the amount of $30,000. This represents a 0.0111 per thousand tax rate increase. The existing generator is gas powered, and as such the fuel is stored in single lined tanks, which really provides for the potential for leaks, which is not something that we want to get involved with, and and if there were any leaks, would create a much larger cost to the school district, and just be fundamentally unsafe. This current generator is 30 plus years old, and has reached end of life. So the proposal is to replace the generator with a new natural gas powered generator, and this will eliminate the potential for leakage and or other potential failure. Our warrant article 5 is the Building Maintenance Expendable Trust, which is $75,000 to be utilized from unreserved fund balance. So this will not affect your tax rates. So the Building Maintenance Expendable Trust was established for the purpose of funding and safeguarding the school district against building and facilities related costs, or building maintenance related expenditures. An anticipated withdrawal, which I had mentioned earlier, of approximately $75,000 from this trust is expected to fund the replacement of the middle school lockers. The current lockers have reached end of life and are failing, as I had mentioned earlier. There are no replacement parts available, and it is costing us significant costs both in labor and in specialty pieces that we're utilizing to repair these lockers. So it is important to note that funding from this Building Maintenance Expendable Trust does come from any available year-end fund balance and is not raised via additional taxation. Additionally, the balance for this trust is $155,123, and the target is set at $200,000. Warrant article number 6 is our Special Education Expendable Trust, which is proposing the utilization of $50,000 from unassigned fund balance. The special education continues to be a challenge, and budgeting and associated funding continues to present fiscal challenges to the school district. The Special Education Expendable Trust was established for the purpose of funding unanticipated special education costs. So as such, it is beneficial to replenish this trust to safeguard and mitigate future unexpected costs. I will also note that funding for this Special Education Expendable Trust does come from potential available year-end fund balance. It is not raised via additional taxation. The current balance for this trust is $241,256,000, and our target is $400,000. I'll also note that this was updated from an original target of $300,000. This target was set based on kind of worst case scenario for an out of district placement. However, that number was set years ago, and as costs have escalated since then, and $400,000 is a more appropriate number. At Winnicott, for example, we have one student placed out of district at $450,000 and another at $475,000. So it is a very real risk. Additionally, we have some significant overages on our special education costs for this current fiscal year, 2019 and 2020. We are approximately $420,000 over budget. So we do anticipate that we will need to withdraw funds from this trust in order to cover some of those overage costs. So the final warrant article, number 7, is a citizens petition article for child benefit services. This was presented from Sacred Heart School, and they are asking for $18,400 to provide child benefit services. This constitutes a 0.0068 per thousand tax rate. And I will also note that this was submitted to provide supplemental funding for Seabrook students attending Sacred Heart School. So that brings us to the end of our proposed 2020-2021 Seabrook School District operating budget and associated warrant articles. We want to thank you, the community, as well as the school board, parents, students, staff, and everyone in the community for your outstanding support of the Seabrook School District. Thank you.